morning. My name is Chris Tobin, and we're just going to go ahead and hit on a couple different slides hitting on the Working Smarter, Not Harder module in this program. So the first one we're going to hit is awkward postures. That's pretty much any given fire scene you've ever been on, whether it's a fire call, a car accident, anything in between, even EMS calls. If you look at the picture here, you can understand we have rounded backs, we have flexion going on, we have this individual right here. You just have to do what you have to do sometimes to make things work. So, like the bullet points say here, it puts us in a weaker, our leverages are weaker, it puts us in a very vulnerable state, and it's something that we try to overcome. This program will definitely help you get into a more holistic mindset of awareness when you are in awkward postures, so you can overcome and make yourself in a more robust and less vulnerable situation overall. So repetitive tasks are another one. Think about all the times you've thrown ladders, pulled hose line, made water supply, getting on and off the truck. It may not just be on emergency calls, it could just be all the stuff in between the calls as well. The big high work rest, the ratio, what's going on. We're going 0 to 100 miles an hour. But the repetitive tasks may not even be something that is 100 miles an hour, it could be just a menial task. Think about how many times you reaching at gloves or something on all the medical runs we go on. So the fatigue and then cumulative damage. The cumulative damage is what we're really talking about when it comes to repetitive tasks. You see things like carpal tunnel syndrome, just sore joints, sore hips, lower back. You see a lot of that in the fire service because we just do over and over and over and over, and you don't really feel it in the minute scale, but then it has a cumulative effect, and all of a sudden one day it gets you. So the long durations is another one. It depends on where you work, but sometimes we do a lot more sitting than we do running, or vice versa. So this could definitely also affect the on the cumulative damage part. You don't even realize you're doing anything. You don't even realize the damage is occurring, and all of a sudden one day you hit a critical point and something pops, something slips, something hurts, something breaks. So just the extended periods of time with the cumulative effects, with the constant repetitive motions. It's not just the fire scenes, it's once again it's the stuff in between time that all adds up over the decades and can be a detriment to your joints and pretty much everything else the body is trying to do, whether it's your mobility, your muscles, the tendons, and everything else in its system. The other big issue is extreme environments. Depending on where you work in this country, you could have one, you could have the other, you could have both. In Missouri and the Midwest here, we kind of have both. So we all know what winter can do to the body. All of them decrease the margin of safety. So the different movement patterns on ice and snow, that is just something that you can't really acclimate to. Being more careful, you're slowing down, we see the slip, trips, and falls and the strains. On the flip side, the summertime, which is about to occur, we have high rate of humidity in the Midwest. Humidity really affects your regulatory system for being able to sweat off the heat, and we start getting into the real danger hot part of the spectrum where we're worrying about heat stroke. The fatigue factor goes through the roof. If you're not pre-hydrating throughout the day or even before you get to the shift, all those things can, once again, previous slide, cumulative effect, could come and get you at any given time on a fire scene. So extreme environments are kind of play into this whole thing with the repetitive tasks, the awkward positioning we're doing, the extreme environments. You can see how all that kind of goes into one giant problem. This is a program that is going to help us overcome those problems, and then from there, like I said, you'll have a better overlook of what you're doing, have a more cognizant view of your body, how it functions on these scenes and in these environments, and it's going to really narrow your margin of injury. It's going to widen your margin of safety, and that's basically what we're trying to get to. That's the objectives of this module.